You want to sit down? You going to sit down or stand up? This is Brazil. For more than three centuries, Brazil was under Portuguese rule and gained its independence in 1822. Next.
Is this Portuguese music?
Can you go back into that one? Oh, yes.
What do you want?
The following, the geography. Very good.
Oh, the government. So in 2003, there was a former trade union leader by the name, his nickname was Lula, and he was the first working class president in Brazil's history, and he was the only socialist party, and he was working for the people, and the people loved him. And then somebody else took over, I don't know his name off the top of my head, and they changed it up a little bit, and then somebody that worked for Lula became the governor, and that's who is, we'll talk about them in just a little bit.
Okay.
Sure.
Why this country is considered one of the BRIC, actually, one of the big emerging markets?
Okay, we will do market. So a lot of this stuff that I looked up online, so Brazil is still considered an emerging market, but they've had a lot of problems with government and they've had a lot of turmoil. They're still considered an emerging market, and they're still a really good place to invest in because, one, they have really good ties with China, so they've been working back and forth with China. They have all the resources that China needs, and they also tip it over at any time. So if you're going to be making deals with Brazil, keep up to date on how things are going over there. They have all these trade routes that they've developed, and you can see the products of Brazil. Can everybody see this? I hope so. So they have all kinds of things. From lots of food, but they also do computers and stuff. Coffee's huge, and Brazil nuts, believe it or not, are in Brazil. Okay, so the GDP, like I said, there was some turmoil in the government, which probably had something to do with the negative GDP that they had. But it's kind of working on the up again. This is forecasted, so we don't know exactly what 2017 will hold, but it's forecasted that it's back on the upswing. All right, in summary, if you're going to be with any emerging market, but especially Brazil, keep track of where they are as far as on the emerging market scale. I would like to say that there is a thing that we just learned about in Module 5, the EMPI.
Yes.
So keep an eye on that and that should be up to date. So keep an eye on that if you're going to be working with any of the emerging markets.
Which that stands for emerging market potential index, potential risk index, right?
Can I go next?
One, I gave you guys a report or photocopies of one of the best reports I have read. Okay, that is like by Global Intelligence Alliance. So they go through an executive summary of especially Brazil, China, India, and Russia. One of the things that they were pointing out about Brazil is not just the GDP, okay, but it's how is the level of efficiency, how efficient they are, the level of education. That's very, very important. Yes, and another reason is like the young population versus other emerging countries, especially in Brazil. People like the millennium that they call them, right? They are much more educated, it's big numbers of populations as well, and they are good at efficiency. So if we take that into account, we will see as well, let me see if I can see, that Brazil actually is the country with one of the highest GDP per capita per person. So the middle class have got more money than the regular middle class in China. About the levels of interest as well. Here we are, Brazil.